And welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and today I'm going to take you through this fabulous project, and this is called the Juicy Fruits and Whipped Cream Throw. I have to say I've been in love with it ever since it came out in early of 2013 on redheart.com. This pattern looks complicated in the directions, but it is so simple. I have to say the Catherine wheel stitch has always been my favorite stitch from the age of 14. I'm now 40. A long time has gone by. I have to say this is a close second for me for being most favorite. I really love how the stitches are playing with each other in this particular project. So today I'm going to go over some of the basics to get you started, and then we're going to work on the tutorial together in order for you to be successful in this project. So as per the pattern, we have the dominant color, which is white, and then we have 4 other colors that are making up. In the pattern it asks for 5 balls of white of the Red Heart with Love, but you can substitute with Red Heart Super Saver or an equivalent yarn to that matter. And then you just need 1 ball of each one of these colors that you have. Now don't limit yourself. If you don't want to have a dominant color and you want to switch off your stuff to be really kind of eccentric and artistic, you're more than welcome to do so at this time. So I want to go over some of the repeat pattern for this, because the first question people are going to ask me, Mikey, I don't want to do the actual size of the pattern, I want to make different sizes. Don't worry, I got you covered. I actually figured out all the math for you to do for baby size all the way up to king size when it comes to doing this particular pattern. So as per the pattern, we're working along and you want to figure out your chain size. I figured it out all the way from a 36-inch baby Afghan all the way up to king size. But if you wanted to do something different, here's how you figure it out. There are 6 chains between this spot and this spot. So it doesn't matter on how big that you want to make it, as long as you keep it in sets of 6. So when you're counting out your chain, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can go to the size of the exact dimension you want to use. Now for baby size 36-inch wide, you'll want to do 110 chains. For 40 inches wide, which is another bigger size baby version, is 122 chains. Single bed 200 chains. We have a full or double size bedspread of 242 chain, and then queen size we have 272 chains, and then king size is 326. So when I figured out all of that, this is the dimensions that you're going to get. Now the repeat pattern from the white here all the way to the top of the green before it changes to the white back again is only 7 inches tall. So if you're figuring out if you're doing this exact combination and you want to make sure that it matches each other, it's 7 inches between the top and the bottom in order for the pattern to repeat itself for when you start up again on the next layer. So that might help you as well. So today I'm going to be working on a swatch. It's not going to be the size of an Afghan, but because we have figured out our chains of being 6 inches across from each other, I can figure out how to do a swatch in order to teach you this project so that you can just motor on and do your Afghan lickety split. So finally, the last lesson of the day that we have is that the stitches, there's special stitches within this pattern. It's called the beginning cross stitch, and the beginning cross stitch is the only one that starts off. So this is where we started. This is the beginning cross stitch right here, and it differentiates from the one that's the regular cross stitch from here, and the difference is where it's grabbing. So when we go and look at this particular pattern, on the very first line that we have when we're coming across, it's going to say beginning cross stitch, but then everything else is just regular cross stitch from here all the way to Timbuktu. So it's just a very easy concept in order to follow once you understand that. Remember, on these directions that you have with redheart.com, if there's anything special, you can always find them in the directions just like you see, and it explains exactly what it is. So here when it comes down, it says do a special stitch. You just look back up top, what is that special stitch, and voila, you just keep moving down through the pattern. So let's get started. On the top of the screen you're going to see chain counts, and those are for the different sizes if you want to do a different version size than what is in the pattern. So in the pattern it's calling for 152 chains, and that will bring you to a 55-inch wide Afghan. So if you want to do something different, just follow what's above. Now the chain size going across just means that it's wider, but the work is still the same involved. So for me, I'm just going to be working on a particular swatch in order to do this. And for me and you, if you decide to do a different size that is not above, remember that the stitch counts are always in 6. So this first slip knot does not count, or does not count as 1. So 1, 2, 3, whoops, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that would be what it would be to go across, and so I would measure that up against something, and once you're satisfied with it, just add 2 more. So 1 and 2. Okay, so if you're following the chains on the top of the screen, that 1 and 2 at the end has already been included in that. So this is just how you would do it if you want to customize it to do any other sizes than what I've figured out above. So to begin, we're going to do a single crochet, and it's the second from the hook. So if you look at the directions, it's single crochet, the second from the hook, skip next 2 chain, 5 double crochet in the next chain, skip 2 chain, blah 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 blah. So here we go. We're going to go into the second one from the hook. So 1 and 2, and we're going to do a single crochet. So it doesn't matter how long your chain is, you're still going to do this exact same thing. We want to skip 2 more chains, so 1 and 2, go to the third for 5 double crochets into the same chain. So this is a shell stitch that you're referring to. At the end of the size pattern, that the author calls for 5, or sorry, that there will be 25 of these at the end of your chain if you're following her pattern, and very easy to follow. So we're simply now going to skip 2 more. So it's 1, see this one here that looks like it's pulled? That's 1 right there. 1 and 2, go to the third. Just like there. Okay, so that was a single crochet into the third. So we skip 1 and 2 again, 1 and 2, go into the third for 5 more double crochets into that chain. So that was 3. That was 4, and we got 5. Okay, so then remember this one here, it looks like it's pulled, but that's a stitch right there. So 1 and 2, go to the third for a single crochet. We skip 2 more, 1 and 2, go to the third for a double crochet. So hopefully you can start seeing the pattern there. Very easy to follow. Okay, and we're just putting in our 5 double crochets into that same chain, and again looking back down, that one that looks like it's pulled. Okay, so that's 1, 2, third is a single, just like there, and then voila, we come back down again, go to the third one over, and put in 5 double crochets into the same one. Now if you remember when I was counting at the first, I said that I had 4 groups, or I didn't say it, or I probably counted out 4 groups of 6. This means that I should have 4 shells left over at the end, and voila, so you got 1 and 2, and the final stitch here is your single crochet, which you're going to end with, just like there. So it doesn't matter how long your chains are going to be, your final one is going to be your single crochet, is if you're right in between the shells. Now for example, say what happens is if you're off by 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4, you can simply just undo this knot and you can bring it down instead of having to redo the whole thing all over again. But so what I'm going to suggest to you at this point, you see how I finished off the stitch? The author is actually saying to change the stitch right at the end. So basically before you finish off your single crochet, you change it. And when I look at my particular idea that I'm doing here, I've not been able to figure out how to really hide these really well, because what happens is that you can hide it under one stitch, but then it drags it all the way under to the other stitch, and maybe there's a secret to it. I have not figured it out. So what I'm gonna suggest to you here is that you do finish off this one here and fasten it off at this point. And so I'm kind of breaking the rules with what the designer is asking for, but I've not been able to figure it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fasten off. So I'm just going to take the yarn and pull it through, and I'm going to weave it through the top section here. And the reason for it is that I really do want this to be secured into position, because you attach it here, but the next one is not all the way until up there. So you end up with a string that's clearly obviously out of place, and it looks kind of sloppy. So what I'm suggesting to you is that just, do your very best and just weave it through, and I would do a generous weave through. So I'm almost weaving to 2 shells wide, because nothing is worse than having these tails hang out. So that's kind of my idea. So I'm gonna ask you when I say to weave to do it that much, so I won't have to show you every time we're doing it. So let's begin to do our next color, and in this case I'm gonna change it to hot pink because I'm feeling lucky. So that's my next choice right now. So I'm ready off with my next color. I have a slip knot on my hook and now I'm ready to go, and I have my other area all weaved in, and I'm gonna trim that straggler afterward, and I just want to come into the very edge like so, just into an edge. Just grab the yarn and the straggler and kind of pull it through and through just to kind of fasten it on into place. Grab both of them. I wouldn't just grab one, I would grab both. Okay, so when you do that, that counts as automatically as a chain 1, and so we just want to chain another one, so that equivalents to your chain 2, and it's saying to double crochet into the same stitch right underneath. So we're gonna double crochet like that. Okay, so here is the repeat pattern that we have. So immediately we're gonna chain 1, and then we just have to find the middle one of the 5 that you have here. This is the shell. We just find the middle one and we single crochet. We immediately chain 1 again. So now it's doing for the beginning cross stitch. Now there's a lot of words there, but let me just show you what it really means. If you pull these apart, you can see how this shell is separating from the base. Okay, you can see the chain, and this is the shell, and on the other side you can also see the beginning of the shell and the chain. So what it's suggesting to you here is that you do a double crochet, and we immediately just jump all the way to the next shell space, and we just pull it apart, and we just immediately go right into that hole and double crochet. We immediately chain 1, and now this time we go backward. So when we look at the shell we just skipped over, and we just pull it apart, and you can see that this is the beginning chain, this is the shell, and that's exactly where we go. So we're just gonna stick in our hook and double crochet the whole section right there. So now we chain 1, and now we'll come back to the next shell and just single crochet right onto the top, chain 1. So here's the repeat pattern again. So we look for the next shell and we pull it apart. Okay, so we have the gaps that you can see, and once you understand that on this one, it really works well. Now this is the beginning cross stitch. It's not the same as the ones that we're gonna be doing for the rest of this project. Now the next one we come back, so we're just gonna pull it apart and then chain 1. So remember, going into the top, middle, chain 1, pull your next shells apart, you can see it. So double crochet, chain 1. You got to make sure you put in that double crochet and chain 1, and then coming back we do the one that we skipped over for double crochet, chain 1, and then coming into the top of the next one. And now this is the very end, so this is how you finish off at the end, so it doesn't matter how far you go over. So we're going to chain 1, so you'll do this whole concept all the way across, and on the very last one you will put in 2 double crochets right in the very end. Why 2 double crochets? Because it's signifying the way that the middle looks, what it's crossed over, and it's the way that we started off in the very beginning. So we want to continue with this color, so we're going to change or turn this right at this moment and begin our next phase for this particular color. So after we've turned, we just immediately chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we come back down into this space just like you see here and put 2 more double crochets right into there. So we just kind of pull it apart, and it will make sense in a few minutes why you're pulling that apart. And we put in 2 double crochets like so. So now this time, see this middle section that we had right here, this is where we put in a single crochet, so we match it with that. So here we go. When you pull this apart, you can see that there's a big hole, and it's created by the crisscrossing. That's exactly where we're going to put 5 double crochets. We go right into that whole space of 5 double crochets. Isn't that simple? Okay, and now we immediately come over to this one and put in a single crochet, so we just match it. So next one we pull it apart, we can see that the hole, when we pull it apart, that's exactly where we go. 5 double crochets. So every color is only used for 2 rows in a row. 2 rows in a row, and before we change it off to the next color. And essentially the bottom color is what works on top. So I'll explain that a little more in a bit. And so the next one we just single crochet because we're gonna match it, and then the next one. See how I just automatically did it without telling you? So it just look for the hole that's in between the crisscross. Just like so, 5 double crochets. So the very end is coming up in a second. I was gonna say soon, just in case anybody was thinking I was gonna say something else. So just match the next one, and then we're on the very end. And remember how I went into the very end when I split these two open over here? I want to do the same thing on the other side for 3 double crochets only. And she says to change the yarn at the very final stitch. Again, I would recommend fastening off. And so basically exactly what I did before is that we just cut the string and then just pull the yarn out. I just kind of wrap it one more time through like this, and then I'm just gonna weave it through. So you don't need to see me doing that because you've already seen me do it once before, but I highly recommend it in order for you to hide your stitches more carefully when you're working on this particular project. So we're gonna bring back the white in just a few seconds. When I am doing this, remember I said that I was going about 2 different shells, 2 shells across when hiding my yarn in order to make it really securely fit into position. And you really can't see the red after I've done that as well, which is kind of great. So let's get out my white again. This is the dominant color, and we're gonna turn our work and get started on the next layer, and that's what we have so far. So we're gonna start off with the white. I'm gonna create a slip knot, and remember this is my own variation of starting. It's not the way that she's suggesting. And then basically we just have to fasten in on the top. So we come into the very first top chain just like so, and I take the straggler and the yarn and just pull it through and through to fasten on. There you go. And that counts as also I just want to chain 1, and basically we need to chain 1 or single crochet into the same stitch one more time. And then basically we need to create the foundation of the white, and we do this for every color going forward. So basically here we go. So we chain 1, and this time we're no longer doing a beginning cross stitch, we're doing the actual cross stitch. This time we don't have to pull anything apart. We can physically see it, but we grab everything. We grab the first row of the pink and the second row at the same time and just double crochet around the whole thing. Okay, at the top we chain 1, and now we come back to the one we skipped. Okay, there's a straggler here, the one we skipped. Just come right into the gap itself for a double crochet and chain 1. Do you see that? There's a straggler there, just in case you're not seeing that. And so we chain 1, and now we come out to the top like we've done before, just single crochet, chain 1. So let's try it again. So here's what we have. We go right around the pink on the one side, chain 1, we come back and do the other side of that area, right around, and chain 1. So we're at the top again, so we single crochet in the top, chain 1, and then we do the next one. So we just single crochet in, double crochet around the whole 2 rows there, chain 1, come back and do the one you skipped, chain 1, top, chain 1. Okay, this is your final one before you're finishing off, chain 1. Okay, we just pull it apart, come back to the one you skipped, chain 1, and then finally at the end you're just at the top of the chain, you're just gonna finish off with a single crochet. So you can see how that's working out, and now we're gonna just turn it. Okay, we're not gonna worry about these stragglers that you can see in the middle. So to start off with, we always start off the same way. We chain 1, we single crochet into the same stitch. Now we come in and just go right into these where they're crisscrossed, the gap that's right in the middle, for 5 double crochets. So the last row in this row is absolutely identical to the way that you're creating everything from going forward. So at the top of this one here is where we single crochet, and then 5 double crochets again into the next one, and the next one meaning the crisscross right in the middle. So I'm going to be speeding up to regular speed. Okay, so then that leaves us to match it to the top of the next one, and then chain, and then 5 double crochets into the next crisscross space. For me, I'm really amazed on how fast this Afghan grows. It really is amazing. I'm really quite surprised by that. So at the top here, single crochet again, and then immediately 5 double crochets into the next cross stitch area. Okay, and then we come back in for the very end for a single crochet right into the end. And I would finish this off. Let's fasten that off. Let's weave in our ends, and then we don't need to worry about that. So I'm going to move on to doing green next. So we're just going to add the green next here, just a slip stitch or slip knot as normal, and basically I'm just going to make sure that everything's good. Got my work turned, okay, and I'm just going to attach it to the where we've got everything else before. Okay, and just grab my yarns through. Okay, and we want to chain up 2. So that was 1 and 2, and we want to double crochet into the same space underneath. Okay, so we immediately just chain 1, it's just like we've done before, the top for a single crochet, chain 1, and now this time it's again a regular crisscross just like we did with the white below. Just double crochet, wrapping right around the white on the far side, chain 1, and now we come back to the side that you skipped, wrapping right around, double crochet, chain 1, and then the top. Okay, chain 1, okay, and again immediately go to the far side for double crochet, wrapping right around the white, chain 1, go to the side you skipped, double crochet, chain 1, and then go to the top, chain 1, okay, going and wrapping around, chain 1, go to the side you skipped, chain 1, wrapping just a single crochet at the top. Now this is the final, so we chain 1 and then come into the bottom for 2 double crochets. So the bottom meaning to the chain area. And now you can see that the green is now in. We turn our work. Let's move along to our next row. So immediately we are just going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we come into the space. So just separate these 2 stitches and put in 2 more double crochets in. So there should be a total of 3. When you're chaining of 3 counts as 1 double crochet in the rules. And then we just single crochet into the top of the white there where the green was, and now we just come back in like we've done before, and we just come in between the crisscross for 5 double crochets into the same hole. So actually called a gap space. So essentially this is how you do it, and all you have to do is change your colors every time you are working along with this particular pattern. Just very quick and simple. It's really quite easy, and you can really do anything that you want to do with this particular design. It's very versatile, I think. And coming into the top here and coming into the next crisscross. So it's really a no-brainer. Just look for the crisscrosses every time you're doing the 5 double crochet right into the shell area there. really, and for that it's nice you don't really have to count stitches. It makes it almost like a granny afghan where you just look for the hole. And then on the final one, just like we've been doing all along, right in between for 3 double crochets, and then we fasten on. So I don't think I need to show you any more than that. You can just continue to go back in time if you need more help in order to do this pattern. But it's really quite simple and it's quite fun. And this is a really great project. So I would like to thank redheart.com for producing this free pattern. It is fabulous and it is wonderful. So on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd, I'm your host Mikey, and thank you so much for joining me.